Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Tanjiro KAMADO. I have never seen this anime. Is it Demon Slayer? Here's the thing, I got this because everybody told me this figure has the best knees in baggy pants. You can't beat it. And we've been talking about baggy pants a lot lately on this channel in various reviews, so I was like, alright, fine, I'll review it. It is Demon Slayer, right? Doesn't it say anything in English anywhere on here? It doesn't? My Japanese not that good, I'm a little bit rusty, but that is Tanjiro KAMADO, looks like that's his name, and it's the baggy pants guy, that's what it is. If you're watching this, you probably know who he is, in which case it doesn't matter if I know who he is, and if you don't, you probably don't care if I know, because we're going to be talking about the engineering more than anything on this review, but it's still going to be a full review other than my knowledge of the source material, because I don't have any, but I'm not reviewing the source material, so it doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. I like it. I like this package a lot. It's very colorful. I still think they're doing too much of the same color in the background. It's not enough contrast. I want my figure to pop. Like, I like all black packaging personally on the inside, but whatever. This is fine. If you are into this character, it's a good looking package regardless. It's still nice. Alright, and this guy does come in at, I think it's 35 bucks at Big Bad Toy Store. There's a link in the description below if you want to get one and haven't yet. He's popping in and out of pre-order / in stock, so they're probably getting their inventory. But yeah, he's a cheap one, so I figured, what the heck, let's review it. You guys keep telling me he's got the best knees ever, and there have been plenty of good figures with good knees that have baggy pants. He's about 5.5 inches tall, not counting his hair. That's going to be about 14 centimeters. So here he is up against Darwin. You could probably stick that in a Marvel Legends scale display if you wanted to. But yeah, he'll fit in with the rest of your anime characters from Figuarts for sure. So yeah, lots of good characters have existed with baggy pants, and lots of good figures have been made of those characters, but lately we've been seeing a lot of trouble. Kenshin is most notably the worst knees we've ever seen probably. And this guy's got baggy pants. Yeah, they tuck in right here, but that doesn't really change anything because the knee is up here. So we're going to get to that. That's the main focal point of this review, but I'm going to go through the whole thing anyway. So let's start with the aesthetic, but first a question of the day. How often do you guys buy figures of characters you're unfamiliar with just because the figure is really good or because the character design is really cool? I do it rarely because I have too much stuff as it is, but I have been tempted by figures that just look really cool or are made really well. Unfortunately, when it comes time to prune the collection down, those tend to be the first to go, but I do sometimes dabble in things I'm unfamiliar with, other than for reviews. As a reviewer, I have to do it fairly frequently because I can't know every single source material fully, but you get the idea. Okay, so let's talk about the aesthetic. The checkerboard pattern executed really, really well. It's not absolutely perfect, but it does a lot in hiding the cuts in the jacket, so that's good. Is it a robe? I guess it's more of like a robe. But yeah, they nailed it. The paint job is really clean, and it is sculpted. Every little checker has a little, like, it's faint. I thought I was crazy for a second, but it is there. You can feel it with your fingernail. They did a good job. Look here, I'll show you. It's not absolutely perfect. You can see they missed a little bit here. They missed the black. It's a little shy of the groove, but that's like the worst I've noticed on that checkerboard. They did a really, really good job painting that, so that's really cool. It hides the joints wonderfully. Very, very nice. Once you pose this guy, it looks great. The brown, it's all just molded plastic. It's probably too shiny. It looks a little cheap as a result, unfortunately, but the painted spots are clean. I just wish this was like more of a matte finish or there's some shading on it or something. But it looks alright. You get a little bit of paint in there for the sleeve. Down here on the feet, they look pretty good. We'll get into the articulation part of the feet in a second, or in a minute or two. The face is really clean. Whatever is at a birthmark, I don't know what it is. Like I said, not familiar. Very, very clean. The eyes are good. The earrings are good. The shading in the hair, really, really nice. Yeah, this is a good looking figure. I think they nailed it. And I mean, I've looked up the character before just to see what he looked like, and yeah, I mean, when everybody was talking about it, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. It looks good. Proportioning's nice. Sculpt is clean. I like it. I will go for the price. For the price of, I think it's 35 bucks, and I'll put a thing on there if I'm wrong, or if I'm right, I guess. But it's great for 35 bucks. 9 out of 10. I mean, it's great. All right, for accessories, we have 4 different faces. The neutral face that comes on him in the package. Then you get an angry one with his teeth showing, a smiling one, and then a yelling one. All very nicely done. You get a decent spread of hands. It's nothing crazy, but it's enough to get everything done that you need. And then you do get his scabbard with 2 hilts, and then you get 2 full-on swords. Is it the same sword that turns into a different sword? Because they look like they're the same sword. I'm piecing together the anime as I look at the figure. Tell me if I'm right about that. The fire sword thing that with that hilt, that's pretty cool. And the extra, it's like got the hamon going on, sort of. It's not really that, but whatever. It looks nice. It's a nice looking sword. So yeah, good spread of accessories. I'm happy with that. For 35 bucks, 9 out of 10. Bandai really nails it on their cheaper figures when they do even a decent job. Alright, let's talk about the articulation. We have, well, I'll just show you. It's a ball peg with another ball peg on it. Or double ball peg with another ball peg on it for the face and head. No, I still can't show you the way they did it. I didn't pay attention to that. So, it's a double ball peg going up and down, and then there's another one that connects this part of the hair back here, which is basically useless. Like, it moves some, but not much, so forget about that. Double ball peg. The hair still gets in the way too much, though, so they had the right idea with the double ball peg, but you can't do that much when you have hair and earrings and things that come down. But, you know, it moves around. It'll probably do. I don't know what they could have done. The earrings aren't as flexible as I would like, because they're just part of the PVC of the head as far as I can tell. So be careful. Those could break as you're posing it around, or they could scratch something. But the neck does move also, so it's not the worst thing in the world. For the shoulders, it's a ball peg, it's a socket on another ball peg, so the inside piece just moves around all over the place. This is more or less going to function like a floating cap, and it works pretty well. I mean, it's not the most fluid looking shoulder we've ever seen. It takes a little bit of finagling to get it where you want it and for it to not look like a weird disjointed mess, but it does work, and he can get the arms up against his body nicely and all folded in there nice and tight. So it's functional. There's a ball hinge at the top that gives you wonderful, wonderful range. You can rotate around that also if you want to, but then you do get a bicep swivel, so maybe they went over the top. It's more or less a floating bicep swivel because it can move independent of the shoulder and the elbow, so it's probably not necessary that it's there, but you can also rotate at the elbow if you want to, which is just a single joint, but he gets a little bit better than 90 degrees. It's probably hard to see because of the checkerboard, but yeah, they did a good job. Like, he can pose really nicely. You can get his arm across his chest very well, and it's good. It's good. I like it. All right, so yeah, in here we have another ball peg for the forearm, and then we have a little wrist hinge, ball hinge. So yeah, he's basic in that he has a single jointed elbow, but other than the fact that the elbow doesn't bend super tight, and I guess it's a little bit more than, I mean, it's pretty good. I thought it was closer to 90, but when you use this forearm piece, it gets even farther. So yeah, it's solid. But yeah, single jointed elbow, but plenty of rotation, and the butterfly does work well, so you can get him into some pretty nice poses. Like, there aren't many figures you can do that kind of pose with just without even trying, and he just does it. So I like it. I like it a whole bunch. That's very nice design. It seems slightly over-engineered only in that you have the swivel right here for the ball hinge for the shoulder / bicep area, but then just below it another swivel. I don't know that that's necessary, but it definitely doesn't hurt. It might just be a little bit of a nuisance as you're trying to line up the checkerboard, but that's pretty good. Now, as far as I can tell, there's a hinge in here that just lifts up way, way up there, so I don't know what's going on with that exactly. Why they... because it doesn't even lean that well forward, even with that hinge, so I'm not sure exactly why they did that. It leans back, too. He can get crazy gappy. I think they might have gone overboard with that socket that you're looking at. That little thing that looks like a ball is the actual socket for the ball peg for the torso. That's on the hinge, and that's what's leaning all over the place. And it's just, like, so disconnected. That is weird. I'm not sure why it's like that. You can avoid it by just not lifting up on him, in which case he gets a lot less range in his torso. But as soon as you go to lean him back, anything farther than that, you get just crazy disconnection. So be aware of that, but he does lean side to side nicely and rotate nicely. So I wouldn't go crazy with that torso or it's going to get really weirdly gappy, but you can just ignore it, so that's okay, I suppose. Ball hinges for his robe, and that works nicely. They're thin pieces, they're light pieces, they don't weigh him down, and because there are 3 of them, you can actually pose them fairly well with a little bit of overlap, and it doesn't look segmented and awful, so that's good. For the hips, straight up to horizontal, so that's good. Let me pan back just a little bit. Going backward, They don't go too far. He's got a little bit too much cheek going on in there, so you don't get a ton of range going back, but that's okay. Going out to the side, basically full-on splits, no crotch nuggets at all, so that's good. I mean, there's a little bit of crotch there, but that's perfectly reasonable. No weird nuggets. On some figures, for those of you who are new here maybe, this piece right here dangles down way too far, and then you get what I have coined as crotch nuggets, and you don't want those, so this is pretty good. And then you get your thigh swivel, which is just a traditional thigh swivel, without a huge flap up here like Trunks had, or a couple other figures. This is fine. I'll take the segmented look more than the one where we have all this extra material. So that's pretty good. And now it's time for the knees. Baggy pants. You see, obviously we have a chunk of plastic here, and then some cutouts and things going on back here. The profile, let's just do it with one leg. The profile is pretty good. You don't see any huge gaps, any weird chunks missing. Like, obviously there's articulation, that's gonna be there, but the silhouette of it and the profile both are good, so we're gonna see how well does this actually work. And I've already done it, but it works pretty well. Watch this. Way better than 90 degrees. And from the side, it looks even better when it's posed. From the front, it's like you can't... There's gonna be a seam somewhere. It's impossible to not have a seam at all. Whether it's the insert, like a joint like this, which isn't really an insert, but it could be. Whether it's a joint like that, you see the two lines on the side of either side. Two lines on either side. Or you're gonna get that. You're gonna get the joint somewhere, you have to. This is probably... I'm not gonna say probably. I could be wrong here because I can't remember every single thing I've reviewed perfectly, but I'm going to say this is the best baggy pants knee I have ever reviewed. That's really good range. You don't get that much range on some figures that don't have baggy pants. On a lot of figures, in fact. It's really good range. And the knee itself is totally, I mean, as seamless as you can get. It's not disconnected, it's not disjointed, it's not chunky, it's not ugly. Why can't we get a good Goku knee? We've gotten 1,000 Goku figures at this point. I mean, I guess Demon Slayer, assuming this is Demon Slayer, I'll have to check. I was positive it was before the review, but you guys make me nervous, and every time I go into something I'm not sure about, I have to question myself. Anyway, whatever this anime is, it's not as popular as Dragon Ball. Why does Goku not have good knees yet, but this guy has the best knees ever? How? Or Kenshin? What the heck? Why? This is amazingly good. These are the kind of knees you need on baggy pants. That's nuts. That's really, really good. And I've been saying for years, you can do way better. And everybody's like, no, it's articulation. You can't. Yes, you can. Look, they did it. They did it right here. And there are better ones, not better than this, but better than all the bad ones. Playarts Kayabuki did it. Some of the Darth Maul figures have done it. There's lots of good knees. Even some Revoltech and Figmas have had baggy pants that work pretty well. But this one, I would say this one takes the cake. It's definitely not as good looking straight up, but if you pose it at all, it's way better than all of those other knees, especially in a deep bend. It's so appreciated. I love seeing good engineering rather than just throw more joints in it. It doesn't need more joints, it needs good joints, and they did it. Alright, I told you we were going to focus on that. Then you also get a second knee bend down here, just a little bit, to help with that posability, to get that really deep knee. So that's good. I like that. And the way they have these things folding over each other, that's really nice too. I like that. Unfortunately, they kind of dropped the ball on the ankles. I don't know what they were thinking here, other than, hey, you can barely see it, so it's okay. The ankles don't have any sculpt to them. They're not even balls. They are just cylinders, so it's kind of an ugly joint. I also realized my AC was on a second ago. You guys might have heard that. Sorry about that if you did. Ankles are good functionally speaking, but they are ugly ankles. They are very functional, but they are ugly. And then you have the toe hinge, which is acceptable, but nothing special. But yeah, the knee joint, the thing we came here for, is just nuts. And the rest of the figure is pretty darn well articulated too. The torso's a little bit weird, but you will be able to pose the crap out of this guy and be able to make it look pretty good pretty easily. And kudos to Bandai. This is an excellent release, especially at the lower price point. Very, very well done. Not perfect, but I'm going to give it a 9 for articulation. Also, at 35 bucks, you're not going to beat this. Not even close. And those knees are wonderful. Everyone who told me they were, you are correct. They are wonderful. And that's how Goku and all the other Dragon Ball figures who have baggy pants and Kenshin, they all need to be done like this going forward. They know how to do it. Let the teams talk to each other and make a better figure. Alright, time for the final verdict on this release. Obviously, you guys know what I've rated all the individual segments and how happy I am with this figure and at the price point. I just think you're not going to beat it. It's an excellent release. And I'm going to give it an overall, I'm going to give it a bonus 0.5, 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, really, really well done. So anybody who actually cares about this character, you win. You win. I lose because I don't care about the character. Maybe someday I will, but I haven't invested the time to know who the character even is outside of this review. But yeah, it's excellent, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, it's $35 at Big Bad Toy Store. There's a link in the description below. But that's it for me. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.